Okay, now it's better. So ninth grade, she's noticing that students are having trouble picking up with mood, characteristics, emotions, and intentions of students around them during literature discussions. So especially in literature classes, you can talk about a myriad of things that might have, especially in high school, sensitive topics. They talk about the Holocaust, they talk about slavery, they talk about women's inequality. I mean, more increasing, the children know about the horrible things that have passed in our lifetimes and that are commemorated in literature. And so I could see where if you're having a discussion and you possibly saw people who were not on the same mood as a piece or at the same level, socio-emotional, than the
Mhm.
other students, how that might be alarming. So what was your question again?
Uh,
In your words?
what instructional activity will be most effective for to foster interpersonal intelligence in a high school, well, freshman English class?
High school English class.
So
Okay.
basically, she just want to see what activity that would enhance them or help them the most to foster interpersonal intelligence.
So that's really important, right? That's going to be a key word for our next slide, right? So the
Most
key word
effective.
is going to be fostering interpersonal intelligence, an activity that does that. That's her goal, her main goal, right? And so what else do we need to pay attention to?
Um, Most effective.
Yes, most effective. And that should be something that tells you or that warns you, sort of like a flashing light. Whenever they say the
Right.
most appropriate, the most effective, it's because they may have given you more than one things that might work.
Mm-hmm.
But based on the words that they give you in the question, you need to choose the best out of the two options or maybe three good options that they gave you. Or
Because it has to be an instructional activity.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So after you've identified those two things, you go to the answer choices, but you need to make sure that it addresses the goal and has those like key words in there, right? Um, the keywords we said were interpersonal intelligence, and that's also the main goal, right? We're trying to foster an activity that would most
And it's
effective,
from
and best.
within. It's from when interpersonal just like themselves.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So that's very extremely important, and that's what I mean by putting it in your own words. So the students are having difficulty during literature discussions, and she wants to add more like personal yourself
Self thinking.
monitoring of some sort, right? Intelligence of some sort. That's putting it in layman terms. So
Right.
interpersonal means inside yourself, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Let's see which of these would be interpersonal and foster that interpersonal intelligence. So,
So
um,
allowing students to create poems related to grammar and spelling rules. Encourage students to work in scaffold style literature circles. Asking students to write reflective literature responses in journals. Teaching students to organize pre-writing into self-designed tables or charts. Well, I know I'm taking out I'm taking out A and B from the jump just because she's talking about trouble picking up their moods, characteristics, and emotions. And A is talking about grammar and spelling rules.
exactly,
And
totally different area.
yeah, B is encouraging students in a scaffold in literature circles. Well, we're talking about interpersonal, so why would we put them in a circle?
Right.
So
Exactly right. It's not in self. This is with other people. We're not
people,
there yet.
right,
It's not going to
right,
help you.
correct. So I'll be marking out A and B for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'll be so C, asking students to write reflective literature responses in journals. So that's asking them to write a reflective of themselves in journals. Well, responses in journals in their journal. Teaching students to organize pre-writing into self-designed tables or charts. Uh, you want it to be student-led, right? You,
Um,
or
well, I mean, yes, typically you do, but this question, remember, the goal is the
okay,
interpersonal intelligence. And don't forget that she says in the scenario, one of the important keywords, and I don't know if you missed it, but during literature discussions is when she's seeing something is happening.
mm-hmm.
During these literature discussions,
It wasn't
their
about the
mood,
tables
their
or the
emotions,
chart,
whatever is off, right? So
right?
she's trying to find an instructional strategy that would help foster
Their literature.
interpersonal intelligence because
Got you. So that literature, so the teacher, she's not talking about designing tables in chart form. She's talking about literature response in their journals. Instead of calling them out as interpersonal, writing in your journal, reflect it, see, boom.
absolutely. So yeah, so they're having discussions, she's seeing problems, which one would make them interpersonally within themselves have better responses to these literatures. And that's what reflective literature responses are. It's you responding, reflecting on the way that it made you, the mood that it like made you feel, if you made any connections with any person, if you just liked a character, if you felt like
Right.
sorry for them, those type of things. And I think this is the best way because you can also read them. Let's say someone's being inappropriate and saying like, I guarantee you'll see everything. I had a student who believed that the Holocaust was a lie. His family he came from Holocaust deniers. And so when in 8th grade, we went through these tales, Eliza Wiesel's Night, the Diary of Anne Frank, all of the accompanying poetry. He had a different mood, demeanor, and set off a different vibe that people in the class got very offended with, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I could see where this might be a useful activity to get them to think about what they're actually saying on paper before they, and think about it, because that's metacognition, thinking about your thinking. And then that might improve literature discussions, especially if the teacher can make suggestions on paper and sort of to the side and rectify those things. But you did excellent with this one. Let's try next one.
All right, what is the question?
Okay, I'm gonna go grab some water and I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Yeah. During a unit on weather, students will gather data on temperature, humidity, barometric pressure, etc. Students will hypothesize ideas before and after gathering. Then they will enter the data into the computer program that can present the information in various graphic formats. The primary benefit of using a computer program with this capability is that what's the teacher ask? What's the question asking? During a unit weather, students will gather data on temperature, humidity, pressure. Students will ideas before and after gathering. Then they will enter the data into a computer program that can present the information in various graphic formats. The primary benefit, so what's the benefit of using a computer for this program with this capability? So what is the benefit of using a computer for this program? That's what the question is asking.
Okay, yes, that's correct. The primary benefit. And so with your keywords, you want to pay attention. Primary benefit means that there might be more than one benefit.
Okay.
then benefits, right?
Right.
The primary reason means the best, most important one, the first main reason why we're doing this. And then
Okay.
there might be other reasons why we would do it as well. So that's important for you to identify. Remember, anytime they say first, second, primary, during, after,
Or
before,
after.
yeah, before, after, all of those, they matter.
Okay.
Those temporal markers, time markers. So the primary benefit, and they're doing this weather unit, they're gathering data, they're going to hypothesize idea before and after gathering, then they will enter the data in the computer that can present the information in various graphic formats. So we are supposed to identify what would be the main reason. What's the main reason they should use this computer program, right? That's the question. The main reason they should use this computer program is because it helps confirm that students are consistently following established data collection procedures. Does it do that?
Okay.
Does the computer program do that?
No, it said computer. They will enter the data into the computer program that will present the information in various graphics formats. So helps confirm the students are constantly no.
No, so and that's important. So the primary benefit of using a computer program, not just any computer program, a computer program that can present the information in graphic formats. Why would you choose that? That one doesn't go with it. It makes sure that they're following procedures. There's no logging of procedures, and we don't even know. I mean, it doesn't talk about that at all in the answer choices. So I would automatically mark that out. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, go to the next one. Okay, promotes new insights and synthesis of information on the part of the student. Promotes new insights and synthesis on, so the insight and synthesis of information on the part. That's a possibility because they're talking about presenting information.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a possibility. Anytime you see the word synthesis, you're going to want to, like, that's the highest level of thinking. So yes, we want for them to be there. Never throw that out just yet. And it might do that. We're going to go back and see, but let's keep on reading. And remember, we're not going to cross any out unless we can bet ourselves $5.
Only A is crossed out right now.
For sure, 100% A's out. So let's B still in the running. I think B's a good answer. So let's see C. Enable students to determine the accuracy of their data by comparing different representations of it.
I would say that is out because it's talking about determining the accuracy of the data. And in the question, it's not talking about any accuracy or anything like that. It's just saying gathering data on temperature, humidity, pressure, before and after gathering. Then they would enter the data. Oh, see, it's possibility comparing different data into the computer program that can present information in very graphic format. So it's a possibility.
It is. It's still a good question.
Still a good answer. So
the verbs of all these questions are good. If you look at the verbs, they're helps, promotes, enables, facilitates, all positive verbs. So these are not going to be where you can just throw one out, super easily, even though the first one is. So
facilitate students. Facilitate students creation of professional looking, visually interesting final report. That's kind of what throws it off is saying the students' creation of professional looking, visually interesting final reports. Then going back up here, then they will enter the data into a computer program that can present the information in various graphic formats. It's not just saying it's going to be a report or a final report, but it's in different formats. Facilitate students' creation. And I don't think it's talking about, it didn't say anything about creating up there at the top. It just said that it was going to gather data. Temperature,
It
humidity.
doesn't say anything about them doing final reports. There's
Correct.
nothing in there about a report that they're even doing. We don't even know what the project is.
Right.
That's not even in there. So good
Yep.
looking out for that. So also, they may or may not be doing a report. It doesn't say that there, so that's for sure wrong. But also, that's the least important of the other two that they gave you,
Mm-hmm.
making it professional looking. You know, the accuracy of their data and comparing different representations is more important than, you know, professional looking final reports.
Right.
And the promoting of new insights, synthesis of new information on the part of the student is what, like, vastly more important. So I would say D is safely 100% out.
Oh, right. So I'm going
Yes.
back to B. Promote new
And so
insights.
now we have B and C.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go back to B. Read through promotes new insights and synthesis of information on the part of the students. Students will hypothesize ideas before and after gathering the new a program that can present the information in various graphic formats. Promotes new heights and synthesis of information on the part of the students. Well, it will be on part of the students because the students will hypothesize the ideas before and after and gathering. Then they would, because they're going to enter the data into the format. So enable students to determine the accuracy of their data by comparing different representations of it. Well, it's not a compare and contrast question. It's more so just gathering information and putting it all together and putting it out. So I'm gonna go with B.
Yes, B is the best answer because they're trying to get new information. That's where you get new insights from, is gathering data. Oh, well, maybe this is this, and maybe this is that. And then you might go and test for accuracy. I don't know if this visual graphics would test for accuracy because you're just plugging in the numbers, the data, you know, so I'm not sure
Right.
how that would work. But maybe comparing different students. But no, the answer is B, because they are hypothesizing, they're playing with new ideas, they're playing with different data sets, temperature, humidity, barometric pressure, etc. There was extra stuff in there. So they're going to be looking at all these different pieces and synthesizing some sort of insight on their unit, and B is the best answer. It is the primary benefit. You could you use this computer program in a final report to help it look professional?
Correct. Yeah, you could.
Yeah, you could. Could
But
you
not.
use it to have the students test each other's data if you went out, you know, measuring temperature on the same day and you just put in whatever, the temperature graphs? You could do that. But that's not what this was, right? And so B is the best answer for the scenario on what they gave you. So, well done.
All right, hold on. I just will be right back.
Sure, absolutely.